Are underweight ingredients a food fraud issue? Speaking of the IFSQN, this question about underweight ingredients was inspired by a post in their forum earlier this year. The post was by a person from a food company in the United States. He wrote, "If we receive raw ingredients that are underweight, would that be considered food fraud? For example, a truckload of cane sugar is 850 bags of 50 pounds of sugar, which is 42,500 pounds in total. In a recent shipment, we discovered the bags weighed out to be 47.5 pounds, not 50 pounds. So we had paid for 2,000 pounds of sugar we didn't get. Could that be considered food fraud or just a supply chain problem?" I was asked the same question by representatives of a US industry association recently. They claimed that certain players in their industry were consistently underfilling bottles, thereby cheating their customers and consumers. They wanted to know if that counted as food fraud. To answer these questions, we first need to define food fraud. For me, and in most legal conventions for fraud more generally, fraud requires intent. That is, an action must be deliberate to be counted as fraud. Conversely, if someone makes an honest mistake, the outcome is not considered fraud. Food fraud occurs when there's an intention to deceive or mislead a customer, consumer enforcement agency, or government. And a definition by Spink et al. For 2016 is food fraud is deception using food for economic gain. In the sugar scenario, it's possible that whoever bagged the sugar made a mistake when they entered the set weight into the bagging machine. Many of the respondents on the forum claimed this would be the likely explanation. A consultant who responded to the question described a situation he discovered while performing inspections at a chain of retail stores. A manager told him that a certain ice supplier was consistently shorting their 10-pound bags of ice by half a pound, affecting millions of bags of ice cubes and every location. He says a root cause analysis determined it was operator error. But then they would say that, wouldn't they? Honestly, even if it was just an operator error and not food fraud, paying for 1 ton of sugar that you didn't get is a pretty big deal. Even without financial considerations, at the very least, the missing material would make mass balance exercises and recalls impossible because of the unexplained apparent disappearance of 2,000 pounds of material. Financially, the purchasing company missed out on 5% of the shipment and, based on the stated price of the sugar at 65 cents per pound, lost $1,300. If the underweights affected every shipment and the supplier was shipping 10 consignments per week, they could be making an extra $650,000 per year by shorting each bag by just 5%. That sort of money is enough to make a real difference to a company's bottom line and could provide a strong motivation for the company's owners to behave dishonestly. In the other case I mentioned, the companies that were consistently selling underweight bottles of product weren't just cheating customers, they were also putting honest companies in the same industry at a disadvantage. It's hard to compete with a company that has the same costs as you, but gains an extra 2 to 5% profit on every bottle they sell. So, is this a food fraud issue? Absolutely, if the short weighting and underfilling is not accidental. How do we know it's not the result of an accident or error? For the underfilled bottles, the Industry Association had performed their own assessment and discovered that the fill volume was less than the amount declared on pack for close to 100% of samples. Genuine filling errors should result in both overfilled and underfilled packs. So consistent underfilling is an indication of deliberate actions, not errors. In the sugar scenario, we can't know whether the short weighting was deliberate, but based on the fact that all the sugar bags were exactly underweight by 5%, and because there are significant financial benefits to be gained by consistently short weighting, I'd say it probably was. And that makes it food fraud.